Welcome back to the Clifford Ashburner channel. I'm not Clifford, I'm Corvus, and normally you would find us swinging rattan in the hall or on the field, but today we're changing things up and steel is back in our hands. In this new mini-series, we're going to be taking a look at some steel swords, where to buy them, and how to get affordable ones. Whether you're an SCA veteran, a HEMA practitioner, or just a sword enthusiast, there will be something here for you. So let's leave the rattan by the list field for a brief time while we have a look today at the first entries in this mini-series. Now this delightful piece here is the Bushwhacker Cutlass. Another wood core leather scabbard with metal shapings here. Now these have been hand engraved and they are fantastic, really cool stuff. This was all just a design I asked for, a little bit dwarven inspired. This was originally meant to be sort of a Thorin Oakenshield Orcrist from the Peter Jackson Hobbit movies meets Pirates of the Caribbean, some sort of meld in between. An unholy abomination. It's got a full tang, and the blade itself is 62 centimeters with the handle at 15 centimeters. An extra centimeter added on just for the crossguard there. There's only really one negative I have about this, and that's the actual basket hilt. The basket hilt is very thin, actually so much so that you can kind of warp it with your hand, and I think any actual serious blow to your hand, it would probably crumple. In saying that though, everything else about this is fantastic. There is a beautiful distal taper, which will be hard to see on camera. It goes from a 6mm spine down from about 150, it tapers off to 3mm. This takes out a lot of the expected weight that you would find for this kind of blade where it swells towards the end. Additionally, these three fullers just take out a bunch of weight as well. So this becomes quite a nimble blade in the hand, so much so that this is only coming in at just over 1 kilogram. It's 1.02 kilograms, which is pretty cool. The handle is made from bone and has been cross-sectioned for moisture wicking. It is a little bit uncomfortable. It would probably need to be wrapped, honestly, but that's kind of my fault. So the cool thing about this one is this is entirely my design. I designed this. I asked for the distal taper, for the fullers, the actual design itself, all just hand drawn by me and sent into the guys at Everest Forge, and then they recreated this from my drawings, which honestly kind of brings me back to this this handguard here. My fault. I never specified how thick I wanted it to be or what I really wanted it to be there for. So it did kind of come in a little bit more decorational than functional. My bad. This sword here is actually selling on their site. This design is selling on their site for about $490 AUD, which for the steel type, which is a 5160 spring steel, which is fantastic for the durability. The edge retention isn't as good, which means that you would have to sharpen it a little bit more, but for the durability, if you're going to be doing a lot of test cutting or a lot of light scrub cutting or anything like that, it's a fantastic steel. To have any kind of blades that are made to this quality this quickly as well, this was from design to being made and then being shipped to me 3 weeks. For that kind of quality, even including things like the distal taper to my exact specifications for $490, pretty bloody good deal. So yeah, big shout out to our friends at Everest Forged. Second sword up for today is the Bronze Age sword from Everest Forge. Now this one comes in a little bit heavier. It's 1.12 kilograms without including the sheath. Now, or the scabbard rather. The scabbard is a wood core leather covered scabbard. And honestly, it's one of the selling points of this blade. Really have a look at that. It is beautiful the way they've had these leather raised pieces. The two little eyelets here as well mean that you can really hang it up on the wall if you want to. It's a really cool design, and I believe it's a rosewood handle. Again, full tang construction. Going out. It's a full tang construction and a leaf blade design. I'm going to start with the negatives, which honestly there's only two. One is that this fuller is a little bit offset, not quite centered. It's only aesthetic, so it's only something that'll get you if you're a little bit OCD. And then in terms of distal taper, the distal taper really only starts less than 10 centimeters from the tip of the blade, which means that this does have a very top heavy feel to it. Still quite nimble in the hand, and you know it's going to be top heavy anyway. Any leaf blades are always going to have that weight going towards the top, but this probably could have been a little bit better if they brought some of the weight down. They have been able to address that by making such an aggressive fuller. It is quite deep. You can't really tell from the video, but it is quite a deep fuller. One of the major positives about this sword is the handle. The shape of this handle really encourages the OK grip, which a lot of you SCA guys are going to froth over. It's got this swell down the bottom here, but it really encourages you to have that OK grip. Again, this is a 5160 steel blade, great durability, but it's going to need a little bit more attention being honed and sharpened if you're using it for test cutting regularly. Blade specs. This one again is a 62 centimeter blade, measuring from sort of here. So you could probably take it a little bit longer, but 62 is starting from the edge of hilt. The handle itself is 20 centimeters, including the pommel and the handle and the hilt itself. Not that this hilt offers any kind of hand protection. It's 2 scales put on, and there's a little bit of counterbalance because the tang actually does run and mirrors the pommel back here, the scales for the pommel. Again, moisture wicking texturing into the handle. It does feel very comfortable in the hand, and it's something that really wants to stab. In saying that, this is such an aggressive point on the end here. If you're just stabbing into water bottles and stuff like that, it'd be fine. Anything more than that, even though it's quite a high grade and good spring steel, it is liable to either chip or deform. So that's the Bronze Age sword from Everest. Where can you get blades like this? So again, as I've said before, this was sent to us by our friends at Everest Forge. The link will be in the description below. Their site is fantastic, and it goes through a bunch of different categories. There's a huge selection to choose from. Weirdly, all of the selections, everything you pick, is fully customizable in its own right. So when you go in there and you look for, say, the Bronze Age sword, this is still customizable. You can get it longer, shorter, a different handle type. You can ask for that extra little bit of distal taper if you want. You can insist that this that this fuller is dead on. There's a lot of different things you can do there. And again, this Bushwhacker cutlass is on their front page with a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff, which is right at the top of the page for any Lord of the Rings fans out there. Theoden swords right up there as well, currently, at least at the time of recording. So Everest Forge, go ahead and check them out. Again, the link's going to be in the description. And if you end up buying something like the Bushwhacker cutlass, go ahead and drop a comment below. Clifford and Corvus would love to see it. And again, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing some test cutting with these. Both Clifford and myself will set up a couple of targets. We'll probably be in our SCA armor, doing some test cuts. And then in the next episode, we're going to do something along the lines of the Romance of Men Katana series, and we'll have a look at a couple of them that have come out as well. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.